He didn't just teach, he shaped minds. He had taught more than 300 students, and they would love the way he teaches. He was so proud of his job. One day, everything has changed. Once upon a time, there was a tutor named Oybek. He didn't just teach, he shaped minds. He had taught more than 300 students, and they would love the way he teaches. He was so proud of his job. One day, everything has changed. Once upon a time, there was a
Yes,
tutor named
everything's
Oybek.
changed.
He didn't
since then.
just teach,
I love teaching
minds.
to become
He had
an
taught
engineer.
more than 300
So you guys might
students,
ask me
and
why
they
I've
loved the way
changed
he
and
teaches.
why I made
He
such a
was so
huge
proud
leap
of his job.
to become
One
machine
day,
learning engineer. And here's the simple answer. Well, yes, everything has changed since then. And you guys might ask me, what was the reason why I made such a huge leap from being tutor to become machine learning engineer? And here's the simple answer, AI. AI made me change my major. And here, it might force you to change your major too. Well, today we'll be talking about two important things. The worry that has brought us. The first, whether AI can take over our job. The next one, whether AI wants to control us. Well, here, I would like to talk about one thing. As I've told you, I used to be tutor, but today I will try to as like a doctor for my patients who's too much worried about AI. Well, as a professional, I want to tell you lies about AI can do nothing, AI can replace you, but I want to be honest. AI is something. AI can change the life of the people. AI can take over your job. And you want me to provide the proof? Well, first proof is that every innovation takes over some certain jobs, some percentage of jobs in the market. In being this first proof, second one is this. Well, it is a job loss in US that happened, that brought every innovation. Well, innovation displaced some people's job. And you can see the quantity, you can see the years right here. Well, from 1972 to 2010, you can see that 60 million people were displaced because of tech development. And when it comes to robots from 1990 to 2014, you can see that industrial robots left 5 million people jobless. And you can see when it comes to AI, there is a huge number. It's not just 5, 6, 70 million. Of course, you might say that the span of time is longer from 20th century, 21st century. Yes, it's long, but you guys should understand something. AI is something that can change your life. And I want you guys to understand something. AI can change your life, and we should do some actions before it really takes over your job. So today, as a professional doctor, I will give you some medicine, some tips to how to save your workplace. Deal? Well, professional doctor usually cares about absorption of his medicine that is giving to people, right? So do I. I do care about absorption. So before moving to tips, I would like you guys to understand the stages of AI. And there are 3 main stages of AI, okay? Well, let me show you them. These are ANI, AGI, and ASI. Today, I don't want to make my speech like a lecture, talking about things that you guys don't understand. But I'll try to make it as understandable as possible. So throughout my speech, I will make some analogies for you guys to understand better. Well, what is ANI? Imagine ANI as like your tool. ANI is like a tool that will help you to do some certain jobs. Of course, it's not that clever yet, so it will help you to do some certain job, but not the whole job as a whole. When it comes to AGI, imagine it as like your friend. Why friend? Your friend can do the same thing as you can do. It matches the cognitive abilities as you have, and besides that, it matches your emotional intelligence. And that's what happens in the era of AGI. So when AGI will see the world, you guys can see that it will be as clever as we are, human are. Well, when it comes to ASI, well, I think the reason why I made such a analogy between ASI and this alien is that whenever we watch sci-fi movies, we imagine of aliens as like far intelligent compared to human beings. And this is what's going to happen in the era of ASI. Human being will be so much clever, and ASI will help us, interesting fact, debunk the secrets of black hole. Imagine we debunk the secrets of black hole, and at that point, we can time travel. Can you guys imagine what ASI can help us with? Well, let's move on. I think you guys have absorbed it. What is ANI, AGI, and ASI, right? Let's move on to some tips. Well, I've done thorough research on what should we do to save our workplaces in the era of ANI, AGI, and ASI. And the simple answer, being professional in your field. And what does it mean being professional? When I mean professional, I really mean it. And I included 3 things into being professional. First of all, efficiency. Second of all, speed. Third of them is your logic. Well, comparing yourself with these cases, let's say efficiency of AI. Comparing your efficiency with AI, there shouldn't be any debate over it. Because human beings usually 3 times a day at least have to rest 8 hours a day. But do you think AI rests? Or do you think AI eats something? No, it does need GPU and electricity, and it will be your forever slave. It will serve for you eternally, right? So when it comes to efficiency, AI wins it. When it comes to speed, you guys can check now ChatGPT and other AI. With one snap, it will create a whole text that it will take for people 10 to 20 minutes to analyze it. So even when it comes to speed, there shouldn't be any debate over it. AI wins it. But there's one thing that AI cannot beat us: logic. Well, when I mean professional, I meant that we should be logically dominant. We should be logically professional when it comes to comparing to AI. If you don't want your work to be replaced by AI, you should be logically dominant. And this is the very simple answer for your worries about AI. Just be professional and logically dominant compared to AI. Well, from now on, I'll try to use bottom-up approach where I will talk about general ideas, and at the end of my speech, you will have your final idea. That is a combination of these general ideas. Well, let's get into it. Well, throughout my speech, I've just told you I'll make analogies. And second analogy will be AI stages in human age. Well, I want to answer your question of whether AI wants to control us. And here is the sample here, and I want you to answer your question from general ideas to final idea by one. Deal? Well, in the first analogy, you guys can see that AI stages types of 3 stages of AI, as I've just told you: ANI, AGI, and ASI, right? So here I made an analogy with human age. Well, I've divided human life into 3 categories: from 0 to 20, from 21 to 60, from 61 to 100. Well, why I made such a division? It is because of the proportion of input and output. And what I mean by input is that when you learn something, it's considered input. And when you benefit the society, it means output. And this is the same thing that happens in human's life. In our earlier ages, when we are young, we usually take a lot of input. We learn something. So at this point, we don't have to care about output. But when we become mature, when we become adult, between age of 21 to 60, we care about output too. Still, we take input, but we mostly care about output. But when it comes to 61 to 100, imagine seniors, imagine old people. They don't usually take input. They only output. They want to benefit the society. That's why they talk about their experience to the younger generation. And this is the same case with AI. In the era of AI, which is we are now, that's why its border is wide. Well, in the age of ANI, we usually nurture it with data. So it takes a lot of input in this era. When it comes to AGI era, it will start benefiting the whole society. Yes, it still takes input, but it starts benefiting the whole society, whole civilization. Well, when it comes to ASI, this is where things become more interesting. At this part of ASI, there won't be nothing to take as input. Imagine we've learned everything about the universe, right? And this is what's going to happen in ASI. Well, you might ask me, what are we going to do at each stage? What are we going to do in ANI stage, AGI stage, ASI stage? And here's a simple answer. Well, imagine ANI child, I've just showed you, and what are you going to do? How you approach children? You will try to teach him or her some kind of things, right? You will nurture him or her with data. And that's the same thing with ANI. In the stage of ANI, we mostly give it with data. We'll nurture it with data. Understand? And when it comes to AGI, AGI is already benefiting the society. And at this point, we're going to cooperate with AI. We're going to cooperate to become more efficient. We're going to cooperate with it to solve the problems that human beings alone cannot solve it. When it comes to ASI, when it comes to this part, we will be able to do things that we only can watch on science fiction movies. Well, I'll give you one example of it. Imagine when we reach the ASI level, we'll be able to create our own universes, our own beings. So imagine there will be only Milky Way. There will be Oybek's universe as well. So at this point, ASI will help us with science fiction things. And you might ask me when these things are going to happen, right? Well, let me give you the data as well. Nurturing, which is ANI section. Well, you guys can see it will last from 20th century to 22nd century. When it comes to cooperating with AGI, it will last from 22nd to 23rd century. When it comes to ASI, well, it takes a lot of time, honestly. Well, people predict that it will see the world after a millennium, after 1,000 years, which means in 30th century, maybe the whole world might see the ASI, emerging of the ASI, okay? Well, here, with general ideas, I want to form whole answer, okay? Well, what's the final answer? What's the final answer for the question of whether AI wants to control us? Well, imagine a child. Well, if you teach children with good things, moral things, when this child grows up, he or she will become the great person. But if you feed that children with bad information, immoral actions and lies, you can see that when that children grow up, you can see that children can do nothing. Will be definitely someone who will eventually do immoral actions or who will tell lies. And would you want to work with such a person? Definitely not. And this same logic can be applied here as well. If you feed good data, if you feed ANI with good data, you will see that in the age of AGI, you will see good AI to work with. You can cooperate it and you can consider it as a friend, but when you feed ANI with bad data, you can see that in the future, ANI will be your enemy. So it's on our palms whether to make a friend to cooperate or whether to make an enemy to control us. Well, at the end of my speech, I would like to end it with a great quote that I heard from my father. Well, knife is a tool. If misused, knife becomes a weapon. And that's the same logic can be applied to AI. If you use AI properly, it will become a tool. It will be a friend. But if not, you will see it as a weapon. Thank you for your attention, guys.